Are you struggling to get a job right now? Listen up because I got some quick tips for ensuring a much higher success rate at getting a job. Okay, so hey, if you like this video, please like, subscribe. I really appreciate it. I've done a couple videos so far about layoffs, the sting of layoffs, lessons learned from layoffs, having the importance of having a side hustle as well. Today, I want to have another conversation about just jobs in general, career advice. So I've heard many times, first of all, when you get over 50 years old, it's especially hard to get a job. I'm over 50. Okay, so it's especially hard to get a job. At least people have told me this. It's like, don't bother. Someone even told me, don't bother trying to find a job at your age. You're not going to find another one. So he literally said that. And I believed it for a while, but it doesn't really matter how old you are. Does it make it more difficult? Absolutely. But you can get a job no matter how old you are, in my opinion. But here's some things that I think that I've overlooked in the past, but I keep on coming back to them. I'm looking at trends in my life. I've had a lot of jobs in my life. Sorry, I got something on here. I got a lot of jobs in my life, and the thing that I feel like I have in common every single time I got a job is I knew somebody that worked for the company. Every single time. Except for the first job I got, okay? Except for the first job that I got right out of college, entry-level position. Every other position was because I knew somebody at the job. In fact, and I think it's really important, if you do know somebody, make sure to take advantage of that you know that somebody, okay? Don't just say, hey, I'm applying for this job, thanks for giving me a referral. I really believe when you're talking with the HR person, making sure that they know that you do know somebody there and they're going to have a conversation with that person, because companies love the fact that you're not just they don't know anything about you, but if someone can vouch for you that it's on the inside, it is gold. And I'm just thinking back, let me think about the jobs I've had. Okay, so a job that I was able to get is in the restaurant industry. I knew somebody, a totally different department, but knew this person, and my hiring manager absolutely had a conversation with this guy after my interview with him. Actually, before the interview, to even get an interview in the first place, I submitted my resume and just said, "Hey Juan, can you give me a referral on to the hiring manager?" He sent my resume on to him. Beautiful. Okay, so that was that company. And then the next time, I actually knew somebody who worked there. The hiring manager was actually my boss. I knew him. So that was really easy. The time after that, there was somebody we did some work with before. It was a client. So when I was actually, it was a vendor when I was at a client side company, and we hired this company to do some work for us. It was probably 7, 8 years ago. He remembered me though, reached out to him and said, "Hey, do you have I saw this position was available. I'd like to apply for it. Is this opportunity still open?" He immediately got back to me probably within 30 minutes. The power of the network. Again, I know it's like LinkedIn to me. I know LinkedIn sometimes you feel like, oh, I've got 1,000 people that know me. Those people, a lot of times on LinkedIn, that you may have met like at a conference or something, they don't know you, they don't remember you. But the key is putting that thing together. Maybe it was as simple as just a conference, but maybe you did have several sessions where you hung out with this person. Maybe just remind them, hey, we met at this conference, or we did some business together. Maybe remind them, and then it's just a fast track to get your resume to the right person. I'm telling you, if you can find someone, it's not the LinkedIn referral of a referral. There's been people before it said, hey, do you know this person that works at this company? Can you send my resume to that person and just give them a head, whatever. Like someone that doesn't know them, but knows me. It's okay, but it's not great. It's much better, obviously, if I know somebody that works at the company, okay? I think you just need to do your due diligence when you see it. And in fact, I applied for a company before I even realized I had some friends that worked there. So shame on me, the last job. But once I got the interview, I was able to talk to the HR person and say, hey, I've got a couple people who work for this company. And there's two things. The two things I think they'll help you with is, number one, getting your resume to the right person. And just getting it to the right person, be able to even have the opportunity to get an interview. And secondly, putting in a good word for you with the hiring manager or even HR. So I think that's so important, and it's so simple. Okay, so that's the first thing. I think that to me is, again, case of one, but I've had many jobs. It seems to be very, 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 it really increases your chance of having the best chance of getting the interview and being able to get that job. Now, of course, you need to make sure to interview well, those kind of things. But so, am I an interview expert? No, but I've had a lot of interviews. I've blown a lot of interviews, not too many, but I kind of know that at this point, somewhere along the way, I just started relaxing. There's probably I did an interview probably about 5 or 6 years ago. It was kind of a disaster. I'm not sure why. It just didn't go very well. I don't know if I wasn't relaxed, I wasn't prepared, but lately, the last few interviews I've had, they've gone so much better because I'm like, I've already done this stuff, and I just had a couple scenarios, case studies of things I've worked on, so I was ready for that. But they rarely asked that question. More of the questions were about how do you handle stressful situations? How do you work as a team? What kind of manager are you? You know, how do you deal with a difficult client? Those kind of things. So those are kind of things too. It's like, it's just kind of natural, but you should have some answers ready to go. But I just started realizing that when I kind of turned the tables a little bit and said, not only are they interviewing me, but I'm also interviewing them. And I think too many people are either intimidated or afraid to ask, or they don't even think about the fact that I just want to get the job. I just want to get the job. And it's almost a desperate thing versus figuring out if it's really going to be a fit or not. Understanding like, what is the work-life balance? Because especially if you're talking to the hiring manager, what is their interpretation of work-life balance? What how many hours are people working typically? How and one of the questions I think I've asked before, which is very helpful for me, but it also shows that you're really interested in hitting the ground running and understanding more about the position, is asking what's some advice you give to somebody who's just getting started at the company working for you? And it's so telling because they're literally going to tell you these are the things that are important to me. And that's the kind of thing too. It's almost hard to even ask somebody that sometimes when you're working for them. It's like kind of awkward. But in the interview, why wouldn't you ask that question? Like, what's important to you? And so I think it was just like, that was so eye-opening. So these are things that I really feel like it took a lot of the pressure off the interview itself, because I was asking questions and I was very curious about some things also. And having those questions prepared is really great because it takes, the worst thing you could do is, I have no questions for you, thank you. No, it's like you have to have questions. But the great thing about it is you can't prepare for necessarily the exact question they're going to ask to you, but you can absolutely be prepared to ask them questions. And guess what it shows? It shows that you've been prepared. It also shows some signs, I think, of that, oh wow, this guy understands this position. He's been doing this for a while. You can't fake some things. Okay, so one of the questions I had is, okay, so I work with survey data, and a lot of the survey data that we work with are panel, that's the sample. Whenever you're actually recruiting sample, you have these people who get paid to take surveys, right? So that's part of it. They're survey panels. And I asked a question like, what do you do to combat situations where the survey panelists are using AI, using bots to take the surveys? What are some things that this company is doing to combat that, to fight against that, to ensure the data quality, the survey quality, I should say, the sample quality is as high as possible? And I think that question obviously showed that I had been working in companies before we've dealt with this, and her answer was really good. But so I think having those intelligent questions, showing that you actually have some experience, that you're not just, here's your resume, here it is. Again, I'm not here to brag. I'm just saying those are the kind of things too. It shows your knowledge of the industry. So I'd always say, like, yes, the questions like what's a day in the life in this position, or what set me up for success, or how would you define success as far as like an employee starting on day one? What kind of recommendations? What kind of advice would you give to somebody? I think that's great. Those are good questions. Or what do you like best about your job? What do you like worst about your job? Those are fine. But I think the more detailed, specific questions that are very industry specific, those are going to show you really have thought about this a lot. And I really do believe that has really helped me. So I'm the kind of person that and I think just relaxing and just realizing that it is another thing too. If you do have a side hustle, you do have some additional income coming in, I think you're going to come across a lot more confidently as well. You know that, like, you're not so desperate. Although I knew it was time for me to probably get a job to get some additional income coming in, I knew I was capable of making money outside this job, so I wasn't desperate. I think sometimes when you show desperation, it just shows like, ooh, I don't know about this person. But when you're confident and you're showing that you're not, this is not going to make or break you, I just think that confidence, you're exuding more confidence. I'm not always the kind of person who exudes a ton of confidence, but I think it's just when you go into an interview and you are able to come across very prepared, it makes a big difference. So I hope this is helpful. And then we're just going to recap real quickly. Any job that you're applying for, obviously try to find somebody that you know at that company, someone you know at that company. And if you don't know anyone, then that's obviously that's not the best case scenario. But if you do know somebody, that is gonna the advantage is, I would say, it's yeah, knowing someone at a company it's just as important as anything as far as the interview process. If you don't know anybody, you don't know anybody. But I think you still, obviously, it's worth applying, but it's going to help you a ton. So that's the first thing. And I almost like say that those are the priority jobs. I think the places where you actually know somebody. If you're applying for 50 jobs, try to find the one that actually, you have some people that you know. Secondly, preparation for the interview, and going into the interview having some really, really good solid questions, and also remembering that they're not just interviewing you, you're interviewing them. And that kind of changes the dynamics a little bit. I think it's a little bit of a, whatever you want to call it, it's a power play a little bit, but they kind of feel like this person is prepared and they are taking this job seriously, and they're asking some really good questions. Asking a really good industry specific question is really important. Okay, so hope this was helpful. And again, please like and subscribe if you like this video. And I'd love to be able to hear, like, what do you want more of? Do you want more career stuff? Do you want more side hustle stuff? Whatever it is, this might be the first video you're watching. So I'm over the place as far as, hopefully it's a good way. It's a day in the life. It's things I'm thinking about. It could be career stuff, could be mindset stuff, could be side hustle stuff I'm working on. I work on resell, primarily Walmart right now, also Amazon Influencer, which is you get products, you do video reviews, and then you get commission when people buy those products. And then I think the third that I'm building this is doing UGC, for instance, this YouTube channel. So any of these things that you want to hear more about, and here's the thing, this is my journey right now. Like I got my full-time job. I am sort of in the process of rebuilding my business because of what happened about 6 months ago, losing a huge revenue stream through Amazon. So I'm kind of building this with you. And I think sometimes you might be like, well, why am I listening to this guy if he's starting where I am? I hope you understand that I've been there. I've been to the place where I'm way up there making a ton of money. So I have the understanding and knowledge to be able to do that. However, it's just kind of showing you that it can be taken away like that. So now it's like, I have the knowledge set, I have the skill set, let's build this together. So I'm here to help you get there because I do have the knowledge. It's just a matter of getting back to where I was before. But let's grow this business together. And I'm going to have some very specific, now that I've sort of gotten the high level stuff out of the way, I'm going to start talking about some more specific things like how to use these different tools. So you'll see some more screen shares coming up as far as like how I'm using some of the tools to identify products to sell. So hang in there. The resell stuff's a huge part of what I'm doing. That's where most of my expertise is for sure. And I would say a lot of expertise also in video creation, doing product reviews, how all that stuff works for Amazon influencers. So that is really what most of my experience comes from. So if you're wanting more information about that, you've come to the right place. Okay, so mindset, keep them positive. I'm always gonna have some encouraging words in every video. So that's my goal, is to help you. And people from all walks of life, hopefully, will be joining me on this channel to learn, whether it's, you might be in a job right now and you feel like you want to have something else. Either you're trying to find another job or you just want a side hustle to sort of fill some of those voids there. That's great. Or you don't have a job right now, you need a side hustle. I can help you with that. Or you're just trying to get a job, period, and maybe you don't even want a side hustle at all. Maybe I can help with that also. So I think all of it. And then when maybe you're in a job that you really don't, you're in a situation where you just want to have more of a positive attitude about as far as how to deal with people, how to deal with the job itself. So again, I'm here to it's like I deal with people constantly with my job, and I've really found that a niche is as far as like how to work with people, how to be patient with people, all these things. I'm not perfect at all, but I found that I'm able to get along with the majority of people, and I'll have some tips for that as well. I think part of it's a lot of these things are just universal principles. But again, I'm going off a tangent here. More to come on that. I'm just kind of telling you there's a lot of stuff here that I love to talk about. I have something to talk about every day. So hopefully you're finding this content helpful. If you like this video, look at some of the other videos that I've done. I've been in this about 4 or 5 days so far, so just really getting started. But obviously, if you watch this video, you've already watched, there's a number of 50 or 100 videos out there, and you're watching this one. Thank you for watching this one. Thank you for going back to the back catalog and watching. But hopefully, all of these videos will be helpful to at least one or two people, to a segment of the population, and I'm always here to help. Thank you.